Tax reform bills withdraw threat against Tinubu. Presidency tells Bauchi governor. I tell you, because of this tax reform policy that Tinubu is bringing, a lot of people are reacting in different ways from different parts of the country. And in line with that, the Bauchi State Governor, Governor Bala Mohammed, being the opposition party governor as well, and the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, also had his own view that, look, Tinubu should withdraw the tax reform bill because it's detrimental to the North. But the key thing here is, if it's North-centric, then they will have an issue with that, but not complete issue, because every region should represent itself and also, have their say. But the key thing here is being North-centric. That is also not a very, very good one. And the other part is the tax reform is not about taking tax. This country have been taxing citizens from day one, and they have been lavishing the tax because we have not seen anything they are doing with people's tax. That is not the problem. Every country in the world pays tax, and the government uses the tax to develop all the states and the country at large. So people in the advanced world are happy paying tax because they see exactly what the government is doing with the tax. In Nigeria, they've been collecting our tax for decades now since independence. What exactly have we been doing with our tax? That is the problem. Now, if you look at all the government that have been right from, is it Fourth Republic, since when Obasanjo came back in 1999 to today, you see our tax have been taken. What exactly have they done? No hospital, no energy, no electricity, no good roads, no good education, no good water resources, no good healthcare, nothing. So what are they doing? The institutions are collapsing every day. Corruption is skyrocketing. In a country where you hear politicians cutting away billions of naira just within 4 years in office, and you will still be happy paying tax in such country? No. We need to be objective about it. I know that some people who are tribalistic will come and say tax reform is good. Yes, tax is good if it is being properly utilized for development of the country and empowerment of the citizens. But the situation where people who are struggling to make life, to make life end meets, are also paying the tax. Politicians are busy cutting away the tax. Then how do you feel about that? That is the question. So, and that is the question. Before we implement new tax reform, what have we done with the previous tax collected? No good road, nothing to show for. Rather than building, if you look at the budget since Buhari entered, his budget of building Aso Rock, building Presidential Lodge, building Vice Presidential Lodge, buying private jet, buying yachts, up till now, that is all we're doing. If you look at the over 50 to 60% of the budget is meant to service the legislators, the executive, and the judiciary, not even the national infrastructures. So where do the citizens come in this place now? Where is their place? Over 200 million Nigerians have nothing to show for the tax they pay for. And you are here talking about tax. Now, Bala Mohammed is threatening, as a northerner, they will not be afraid of anybody. And now Presidency is saying he should withdraw his threat. Now we're going to go into the details and then we'll analyze whether what Bala Mohammed said is wrong or what the response coming from Presidency is wrong or right. The Presidency has hit back at Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State over his threat to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration regarding the government's push for the passage and implementation of the controversial tax reform bill. I recall that on Wednesday, December 25, 2024, during the Christmas homage by the Christian community at the government house in Bauchi, Mohammed strongly criticized President Bola Tinubu's tax reform policies, describing the reform as anti-Northern and accusing them of favoring only a specific section of the country, thereby neglecting the interests of the Northern region. So the governor warned that if the policies persisted, the Northern region would be compelled to show its true colors in response. I tell you. So in a post on X on Monday titled "Ray, we will show Tinubu our true color," President Tinubu's special advisor on media and public communication, Mr. Sondedari, stated that Governor Mohammed's remarks do not represent the North stance or the constructive dialogue required between states and the federal government. Can you imagine? So Dari said, I urge him to retract these confrontational remarks and redirect his focus towards productive dialogue with the federal government regarding any concerns about the Tax Reform Act. This unfortunate statement does not represent the collective voice of northern Nigeria. The North, like other regions, seeks collaborative governance and constructive engagement with the federal government to address our nation's challenges. Rather than issuing threats, his energy might be better directed towards implementing effective poverty alleviation programs and ensuring transparent utilization of these federal resources, 144 billion received from federal government. So the Tax Reform Act and increased federal allocations significantly benefit the states. Can you imagine? The question is, as you are collecting this tax from the citizens, what are you giving back to the citizens? That is the problem. Nothing. Nothing. They will loot them. The governors and all the executive arm of governments, they will loot them. I'm telling you. The Post also condemned Mohammed's statement, describing them as inappropriate for someone in his position as a state governor. So his statement, we will show President Tinubu our true color, is particularly concerning and does not reflect the constructive dialogue needed between the state and federal government, that is said. It bears noting that Bauchi state has received 144 billion naira state and local government in federal allocations under the current administration, a significant increase from previous disbursement. Yet his state continues to grapple with serious developmental challenges and high poverty rates. As a state governor, he is called to exemplify statesmanship and work towards national cohesion. Dari highlighted that the Tax Reform Act would simplify the complex taxation systems burdening small businesses in Bauchi, offering significant benefits to states. So he emphasized that Nigeria's journey to prosperity demands unity of purpose, urging public officials to move beyond regional sentiments and political grandstanding to support the collective vision of a stronger, more prosperous nation. Okay. So the challenges we face, poverty to security, economic growth to social development, transcend state boundaries and political affiliations. Indeed, all political leaders must remember that their primary obligation is to improve the lives of their citizens, which is best achieved through constructive dialogue, efficient resource management, and unwavering commitment to national unity. So the path forward lies not in confrontation, but in collaboration, not in threats, but in thoughtful engagement, and certainly not in divisive statements, but in unified action towards our shared goals of development and progress. This is the true leadership Nigeria needs, one that builds bridges, not barriers, and prioritizes the collective good over individual or regional interest. Finally, this Hausa might suit the political nerves of the governor. Gayara Kayanka Baya Zama Sauki Muraba. Can you imagine? Bulaba don't enter here. So the thing here is they are talking about reforms, but the question every Nigerian is asking is the tax reforms that have been done over the years, what has it yielded? Electoral reforms that have been done over the years, what has it yielded? The national confab done by Jonathan, what has it yielded? Nigerians keep being impoverished from regime to regime, from government to government. These tax reforms now, how far have they educated the entire citizens of Nigeria to understand what it is and to be able to buy into it? And how are you able to prove to Nigerians that all the tax you are collecting, both past and present, are judiciously used for the well-being of Nigeria? Because when we look at the budget that have been made year in, year out, is all government-centric, is all looking at servicing all the organs of government, not really bringing development to the people of the country. And that is very, very concerning. So whatever Bala has said, I am not supporting any form of confrontation, but I am saying that if you're implementing any reform, let the people also be sure of what you have done with previous reforms. Because all this is we're calling reform, reform, reform. At the end of the day, nothing to show for it. Nigerians keep wallowing in poverty. We've seen the worst level of poverty in 2024 under Tinubu's government. And we don't know how it's going to be in 2025, apart from divine intervention, or except if there's divine intervention. Somebody is already commenting here in support of Tinubu's government. He said the North is not ready for development. Please let break the country. The North will never be okay until they do something concerning their porous borders. Where that is a very good one. The North also have their own problem because they have been in power more of the time, right from the time of independence till today, and there's still nothing to show for it. North is still the center of poverty in Nigeria. They have the highest level of poverty, the highest level of school dropouts, and all forms of, things going on there due to lack of education. The source of terrorism in Nigeria is from the North, and everything is from the North. So the thing here is that the North has actually not proven to contribute. All the resources that we're sharing in this country all come from South, and the South is still impoverished. So it's quite an unfortunate situation. Somebody not going back on tax reform. First of all, do you understand what the tax reform is all about? Have you been properly educated? Because Nigerians sign agreement without reading the content. And when the agreement is tying their neck, the next thing is they will begin to complain. Meanwhile, you have opportunity to ask about it and you're not asking about it. The question is, what is the content of these tax reforms? What are its merits and demerits? How is it going to positively impact the citizens? Have you been properly informed and educated? Those are the questions you must ask, and you must have answers before you support it. That is it. Even America, everybody pay tax. They don't want to pay, but they need allocation. Many outside the country, there is tax for every property and bottle of beer you buy to drink. Okay, has specific amount. The question is not about the tax people are paying abroad. People are happy paying tax abroad because they see what the government is doing with the tax. Yes, everybody is happy paying tax, and if that is why tax evasion can be a big problem, because you'll be cheating the system if you're not paying tax, because they're using the tax to rebuild and to develop and to maintain the system. But in Nigeria, what do they do with our tax? That is the question you must ask first before you compare Nigeria to abroad. That is it. Someone say, go and rest, Mr. Your analysis does not hold water. You find it easy to compare America to Nigeria when it suits the fancy of your clueless APC government. But when it comes to social safety net that America offers its citizens, you start talking mumbo jumbo. Exactly. Look, let's face it, in as much as it is good to pay tax and all that, the government must also address the concerns of the people, especially when there are deficit of basic infrastructure in the country. Bagam. This guy has just spoken my mind. Exactly. Does not hold water. That is the truth. Some say overdue, though commendable, enough is enough of all these lazy hypocrites, ingrates and terrorists, immune sacrifice rascality. All these people that are not-centric. Okay, they actually don't contribute anything to this country, but they are collecting from Central. And what is going to the Central is coming from one particular region of the country, which is South. That is it. So we say he's a lazy Agbero governor using gutter language, which he never used for Buhari governors from South, whose regions produce almost 90% of our resources, do not talk like a tout. I hate to talk about tribes, but sometimes our brothers from the north talk as if they own Nigeria. Let him try. Maybe Araba Esau. The way look at Fubarabin is spite of problems, generated 100 billions. Lazy, I don't know what he's on the right self attire for her. I know he's trying to support the government and try to, blast Governor Bala here. But it is what it is. Thank you for listening. Let's have your comment over federal government response to Bala's statement.